Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
It is. It is.
Yeah, I obviously you've given us some advice too. So perhaps you'd like to share what advice you've given to us.
Certainly, I would be happy to. We spoke with you, as you know, about the state of complacency and apathy within the people who will be attending. And if you remember, we encourage you to give everyone a good shake-up, around these very attitudes, these very desires to take continually from both of yourselves, to be handheld and bottle-fed, and to emphasise to people the choices that they have. And to really allow the confrontation between the error that they present towards yourselves and the truth that you know.
Yes, we want to stop nursing them like they're babies, because that's what they want, many of them, but it's not very good for them, and also doesn't encourage their development of their will in any way.
No.
So,
and if they just imagine if their own mother and father had never encourage them out of a nappy or
many of them probably
up
still
from
be
crawling
wearing one.
or to learn how to feed themselves, then they would be 50-year-olds
wearing a nappy, being spoon-fed still.
lying and crying.
Crying whenever they were unhappy.
Whenever they were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that is not the purpose of our lives upon the earth.
or anywhere else.
No, but these are crucial lessons from the beginning of incarnation to begin to embrace the personal will that has been gifted to us. Such a beautiful gift.
Yeah. I like some of Paul's words in the Bible about that, about thinking as a babe and acting as a baby, and people are just continuing on doing that over and over and over again without growing up, and God really wants us to grow up and become self-responsible beings who exercise our passions and desires in harmony with love.
Yes, and as Paul says, then we begin to see clearly. We begin to see clearly the truth.
Exactly.
But without that, the truth it's never known and everything is dark.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is something that we're definitely going to focus on, trying to help people have some breakthroughs. Unfortunately, some will feel that as us being quite firm and severe on them. But the reality is, anybody who does listen to the particular groups that we create for the years to come needs to engage and needs to see the necessity of engaging their desire and passion for truth, and to stop resisting it. Because it's coming at them in so many different ways already without Jesus or Mary actually saying it to them.
Yes.
but when Jesus and Mary in your face saying it to you, then obviously there's a pretty straight truth coming at you there. But I still see most people having this underlying viewpoint that when I talk to another person, that I'm speaking the truth, but when I talk to them, I don't know the truth about their life. And that is a big problem still.
It is a strange fact, isn't it, that upon the earth there has been so much error propagated, so much so that the conception of love has mutated so much. The understanding of what love is has been injured so much within most people that it is now viewed as completely disparate, completely disconnected from truth. And yet, to know real love is to know how conjoined it is with truth. And so it is with some sadness, or it is unfortunate that upon the earth, when people stand up and speak truth, they are often regarded as being completely unloving.
Yeah.
And
it happens in all walks of life, not just with regard to God's truth.
Yes. It is such an issue, and we hope that each person can begin to bring their understanding back in more alignment, but we know that can never happen until people such as yourselves are willing to speak truthfully with love. Or be loving, which is to speak truth.
Yes.
And
I like you say, I often see people thinking that they can be loving without being truthful. We still have many people who've listened to divine truth for years and years and years, and are still living lies in their life all the time. They haven't honestly portrayed their life even to their friends, let alone to anybody. And they still obviously cover over a lot of their life with God, and still think that somehow they're going to receive love through that process. And I still struggle to understand why, given the fact that we've spoken pretty plainly about those particular issues. But it does demonstrate the addiction involved in what most people today define as love. And so that's obviously one of the things we'll be addressing as well, the actual definition of love that people have, and trying to confront that definition so that it's more in harmony with God's rather than the hellish viewpoint of it.
Yes, and it also demonstrates, as you said, it's surprising when you've said so much on this topic, but it demonstrates how disconnected people are from the true condition of their heart, the true condition of their soul. They can live with a dissonance between what they say they believe and what's really occurring in their life, and what they really value and what they really view as bad.
Yes.
They say that love and truth are important, and yet they deny and avoid both things almost continually
every moment of their day-to-day life.
Their day-to-day life. Yes.
Yeah. That's going to be an issue to face. We'll see how we go with that.
We know that you will do well. We're so excited. Perhaps if we could share one final matter. And this is really to speak again to the hearts of those people who will be attending. There is coming a time of the necessity to make a choice, a crystallizing of what it is each of you wish to do, and how, if it is that you wish to pursue a path towards God while you are on earth, or even the decision you make will carry, for most of you, well into your spirit life as well, whatever you decide. And this is always, of course, up to you on a moment-by-moment basis. But what we see for many of you is that you have been in this cyclical place for a long time, not receiving these teachings really with your heart, opening to understanding them from an emotional place. And so there is a lot of dissatisfaction, or a sense of stagnation, or a sense of frustration in your relationship, or a sense of, oh, I'm never getting there, or it's just too hard. And what we see for many of you is that you are coming to a crucial point in your soul's life, really. And that is, will I choose to move from my head to my heart? Will I choose to really experiment with putting these principles in practice? Will I choose just to open up my heart to the truth of what is really in me and around me right now? Or will I choose to just avoid any discomfort, avoid any challenge, and really relinquish my interest in the teachings of divine truth, and return to a life that is probably not dissimilar from most other people's life.
And not dissimilar from the life they've already had.
The one that they've already had, it's a return to that life, and it's a similar life to the one that you were raised in with your family, and you perpetuate for future generations. And we
unfortunately may die in.
Yes, and this is why we say that these types of decisions are quite critical. Once a person has been exposed very directly in spoken words to God's truth.
From the person who taught it from the first time.
From a person who has the wealth of experience and lives it and breathes it. Once a person, this is different. This is a different choice now that people begin to make. And if there is a decision made after hearing it, after being faced directly with the presentation of God's truth from the person who has discovered it and known it the longest. And if a person then chooses, and each person is allowed to choose in either direction, but we just wish to raise the awareness for each of you who will be attending these groups, because it is during this next 2-year period that we see most of you are going to face this decision, really. Face it, and we hope that you face it head on with full knowledge. That's why we want to speak to you about it. That when you face this decision, will I pursue this path of self-knowledge, of a desire to really grow, to know the truth about myself and about God and the universe that I live in? Or will I choose to put that off and really go back to a different life? Once you face that choice with knowledge of what you're really choosing, then that decision usually sticks with you for a very long time.
Yes.
It's a decision. It's not like the decision to live in addictions that you were making before you heard God's truth. Once you hear God's truth and then you decide to go back to addiction, usually, and a life of avoidance and facade and living in harmony with the injuries that pervade the world as it is right now, then once you decide to go back to that after really being given the opportunity to know God's truth in your heart, and certainly you've been made intellectually aware of it, we know that most people who make that decision remain in that decision for many years after they pass from the earth and into the spirit world. Because it is more of an exercise of the will, the free will choice to reject truth. Before, many people were not as aware of
They're just living in ignorance, really.
They were ignorantly choosing what they thought was
the best they could do. Even what they thought was loving.
But once a person has been exposed to God's truth, and most who are attending your groups have really had some moment of recognition.
Yes.
This is truth.
Yes.
This is truth. Some of it has hit the heart in those very early stages of hearing it.
Particularly the universal truth.
Yes.
Less so the personal truth.
Yes. But it is the universal, the truth that applies to the personal, and it is only resistance that prevents it being applied to the personal.
Exactly.
And so this exercise of the will away, this is something that will stick.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that too, isn't there? Because it is a purposeful choice now to sin.
Yes.
And of course, any purposeful choice to sin bears quite severe consequences, one of which is that often we remain in that condition for a long period of time.
Yeah.
People do not realise, do they, that the little tiny choices they make on a day-to-day basis are adding up to get, and even just there's been tens of thousands or perhaps even hundreds of thousands of people at this stage who have heard divine truth since we've been back on the planet, and many of them are now making a purposeful choice to sin.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate for them, and also going to be unfortunate for their future.
Very unfortunate. It's unfortunate for their soul's future.
Yeah, for the pain that they're going to experience as a result.
We see them already accruing that pain and attempting to deny it and avoid it even more. But we know, and some of your guides who are here with me have experienced firsthand what it is to perpetuate this cycle of avoidance and
to make that kind of a decision.
The compensatory pain that builds up. Some of us here, not myself personally, but some others have had God's truth offered to them when they first entered the spirit world, and they chose to reject it and lived for many years in a state of increasing pain until they made that second choice to actually change. But this was universally a more difficult choice.
And there's also the underlying emotions too, the compensatory emotions of feeling like if only you had it. Like this, the emotion of regret is such a large emotion under those circumstances, because you realize that you could have had 100 years without suffering, or even longer, many thousands of years
Yes.
without suffering,
Yeah.
if you had taken that first choice when it was offered to you, rather than just putting it off all the time, or even making a completely different choice to continue sinning.
Yes.
So it is such a big issue, that's for sure.
It is. And so this is the sort of crystallizing moment we see ahead for many of you who will be coming to this group.
Yeah, many we will not see again for a long period of time.
That's right.
unfortunately.
There are others who have the potential to really take this decision to really embrace divine truth from a soul perspective. And we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
But we do challenge and encourage each of you who are listening to not kid yourself, to not come along and decide that you have made that choice to really embrace divine truth when you are still living in this fear-based state. Because some of you are going to be tempted to do that.
Yeah, I can only feel 5 or 10 people that have made that choice at this point. So
Yes. But even those who will attend the group, many will attend the group and wish to leave and decide that they have made a choice to really embrace these teachings. But when they reflect after 6 months or a year, they'll find that really nothing has changed for them. And they will know that they're still perpetuating this same state that they're in before they attend the group. And we would love it if everyone who attends every group makes this choice.
That's the potential, isn't it? Like
Yes.
that's the thing, is that like what I find, unfortunately, a lot of times is that when there's 200 or 150 people coming along to a group, 150 people could choose to actually make the heartfelt choice to embrace truth. But
And this is the most exciting thing. The future is not written. It's all possible. It's all possible right now.
Yeah.
And so we're not sharing all of these things to scare anyone, or we're sharing it because we wish to it is the truth. And we want to help people understand the potential.
yes.
The potential in both directions. It's important to look at both.
Yes, because the potential in a negative direction is also possible in the positive. Like
Exactly.
You make one small decision, and if it's made out of harmony with love, the potential for that decision to have a terrible effect on you the rest of your life is great. But also, if you make the one small decision in a positive direction, the potential in the positive direction is also great. So
That's right.
So and a lot of times, isn't it the case where we hit the decision point, and that becomes, unfortunately, a turning point rather than, so in other words,
A turning back point.
a turning back point.
Yes.
Rather than going, okay,
stepping forward.
Well, even understanding that it's a critical moment.
Yes.
My decision now, the decision I make this week, the decision I make this day, or in this moment, is going to be a critical moment in my history, in my life, and understanding the importance that every decision that we face in harmony with love or out of harmony with love almost becomes like that.
Yes.
And that's, I feel, where most people are skipping over their decisions and the consequences of their decisions.
And this is what we refer to as the complacency
Yes.
that we see. There is a feeling that the opportunities are endless, that they can just make the different decision tomorrow. They can, they really probably should have spoken up there, but they didn't. Or really, I can see that was a great attraction to feel something, but they didn't. And they feel that it will go on and on and on. And while God's love is an incredibly abundant gift, and there are an abundance of opportunities, the person who is most harmed through the complacency about each of these wonderful opportunities being provided and then really not valued and turned away and feeling like, there'll be another one to come. The people who are most harmed are the people who are turning away those opportunities, which is not to say that it's not harming a great many other people.
Others, yes. Yeah, the sin against the Holy Spirit harms not only yourself but many others as a result of the choice.
Many others. Yeah. And yes, we see that there is a great complacency and a feeling that, yourself and Mary will also be a ready resource forever.
And I don't think most people have even practically considered that. Obviously, the more we progress and the more people who understand or know divine truth, the less time we're going to have to spend with each one individually. And it just makes logical sense that that's the case. So, and then bearing in mind there are bigger issues also at stake. And besides helping people here on earth, there's many spirits that also need assistance. And there needs to be a sharing of our time amongst these particular matters that are of universal importance. And so our priority system has to be, as we said in our Jesus and Mary Dealings FAQ series recently, our priority systems have to be refined, and that's going to mean that the majority of people who think they can expect to have personal contact, it's not going to be available, basically because it's not going to be possible.
And also there is a very key issue, which is when gifts are not valued,
exactly,
then it is not a punitive.
More gifts can't be added, though.
Yes, it is part of the laws really of love that govern this, and many people feel that because of certain experiences in their childhood, if they didn't value a gift, then they were punished. This is not about punishment, but it is a natural sort of working that if a loving law, really, that if a gift is offered and offered and offered and never received or viewed even as a gift, then it is natural that that gift will be withdrawn for a time.
Of course. And I feel that is a big problem. It's not just the fact in childhood that people had been not offered gifts or whatever, but a lot of people the reverse is often the case, unfortunately. In that people have been given gift after gift after gift after gift. I've never determined any appreciation for it, and as a result of that, they've been taught that you're going to keep getting gifts and keep getting gifts, and lovers will keep giving you gifts even though you don't appreciate them, and that's not the case at all. And even God will not do that. And I think most people don't understand that particular thing, that even God will not do that.
And in fact, it is not about the lack or abundance of the gift.
No.
It is in response to a condition within the heart.
The gratitude for the gift.
The gratitude, the acknowledgement, what I called in the beginning, the value placed upon that gift.
Yes.
Then love would only naturally respond to the condition within the soul of the people being offered the gift.
For those who are Christians, I said the words, don't cast your pearls before swine, which was basically a principle based on this particular underlying principle of love.
Indeed.
In that people who do not appreciate the gifts cannot be given more until they learn to appreciate the gifts they've already been given.
It is not a good economy, and as you know, everything in God's universe
is economy.
Is very economical in a loving way, not in a stingy way. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's very good.
Okay.
I feel. Is there anything more that, as a group, you'd like to say to the group? We want to try to give some more opportunities to say some more things. We're still not certain how we're going to do that.
In that full schedule.
Yes, in the very busy schedule we have. As you know, the schedules that we've created are quite busy, and most of the presentations are quite key presentations, and this is why we've made the rule that people can't come and go as they please. Because every single presentation in one group is joined to the next presentation. And so, we're still undetermined about how we can sort of have you guys share more information as well during the groups, which we're hoping to create opportunities to do.
We feel there will be certain times where it
naturally arises.
Naturally arises. Yeah. And we're looking forward to that opportunity also.
Yeah.
There are a number of guides who wish to step forward and be vocal, and also your own personal guides wish to be quite involved, as you know they often are. And really, to finish, we would really just wish to encourage each person who will be attending to recognise the choice that they have, that they face right now at this time in their life, to either really begin to embrace truth from an emotional perspective, or to live a life in denial of it for quite some time to come. And as I mentioned, it is up to each person, and we are whichever choice that they make. And our only desire is to really make people more aware of the will-based choice that they face.
Yes.
To know your will is so important. Yep. To know what you are choosing, and to make you aware of that, we feel is a gift.
Yes. I feel we need to probably say at this point that those are people who are going to listen to the group program, whether they are actually in attendance or whether they're listening through some kind of remote method. They've already made the choice to actually listen.
Yes.
And so and in the case of those who come, well, you've already put aside a week of your time, or just over a week of your time, to come. So it would make sense to make the next step and actually make a choice.
Your body will be there. What about your heart?
Exactly. Your body's there, but are you going to be?
And really, we see that people can approach this experience just as they've approached hundreds of other seminar experiences with yourselves. To come and to be interested, sometimes entertained, sometimes fascinated, sometimes a little thoughtful,
and sometimes a little angry,
sometimes a little emotionally challenged. So people can come with that same attitude, and they will receive about the same level of benefit they already have.
Which is next to nothing.
And they'll remain in this very sort of stagnant, cyclical, feeling hopeless, faithless sort of a state that's not real. It's all a product of avoiding truth and not embracing it.
Yes, and I feel they need to make the decision to stop blaming God for their lack of desire to receive truth, and stop blaming the teachers for their lack of desire for receiving truth, and start looking more internally to see what's going on inside of yourself that causes you to reject the truth.
Yes. Yeah. We see so many feel that theirs is a special case.
Yes.
That it's easier for everyone else. Everyone else but them. If only everyone else could understand how it was for them.
Yes.
When each individual has the same choices to see truth, to want to grow in love.
Yeah.
And so each person has their special set of circumstances. So people have this opportunity to engage as they always have.
Yeah.
Or they have the other opportunity. And again, many do not realize the power of coming with a sincere feeling for truth, a sincere feeling to engage with truth, a sincere feeling to seek truth. Not just receive it because Jesus and Mary are still saying it, but to seek it from a heart perspective, to seek to know the truth and to seek to really listen to what they're saying. It's difficult for us to describe in words through a medium the power that would have for each individual in attendance, but then also what kind of atmosphere that creates in the room that enables us to be present so much more.
Yes.
That enables us to encourage each of you so much more, to inspire each of you so much more, to protect each of you so much more from negative influences. This seeking within the heart, this seeking feeling, it's so underestimated, and yet it is so powerful.
Yes. And I think it's worth mentioning, isn't it, that many of the seminars of the past, we've had hundreds of thousands or even millions of quite dark spirits influencing the proceedings and influencing the people there, when the reality is they can only influence the people because of the people not wanting to get out of their own complacency to receiving truth.
Yes.
If they had a passion for receiving truth, those spirits would not even bother with that location so much, aside from seeing it as a bit brighter than the environs. They wouldn't bother in the sense that they could not get any kickback for being there, and therefore would help you guys a lot to be able to help.
Immensely, immeasurably.
Yes. So I feel a lot's going to depend upon the audience, but as far as it depends on us, we're going to make sure that any of the audience who don't come with that attitude don't remain there very long because we're not going to spend a lot of time trying to encourage you to have that attitude. We're going to want to spend our time with people who actually have the desire for truth.
Yes, and that is only logical for so many reasons, such that I just mentioned about the seeking heart is really the heart that receives. And so you would no longer be casting your pearls before swine. But also in that there is a power to move through topics and lessons much more rapidly and expand on them more deeply.
Yes.
When there is a group of people with a concentrated desire for truth.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of material we'd like to share with people, but we have yet to be able to be because of this bogged down resistance that keeps on happening at most of the seminars we present. And that's something we definitely want to avoid when we're doing our assistance groups.
And from our perspective, what we see is that things can go routinely, and that you yourselves can only respond to the heart
to the condition of the time
that is there. But if we speak again to those who will be in attendance, if each of you can come with a desire to challenge yourselves surrounding truth, then this is where the possibilities are endless.
Yes.
This is where you go off the map into uncharted, wonderful new territory, and all of the proceedings feel less tiring, they're more inspiring, they're more life-changing. But if that is not a condition within the hearts of those present, then there is an immediate limitation placed upon the potentials for that group.
Yeah, we've received so many emails already where people say, you know, oh, I've booked in to go to the group, but I'm pretty afraid of coming, you know, and that already is the wrong attitude, really. Yes. Why aren't you excited to come rather than afraid of coming? Afraid of coming is already indicating that there is this same lack of desire.
Yes.
And in fact, the fear itself, by honouring it, you're honouring yourself staying in that complacent, fear-based state. Indeed. So we'd really love to see a group of 70 people come who are passionate about what they're going to receive and passionate about being open and passionate about observing some of their personal truths that they need to come face to face with and have an awakening to some of their sins that they've been very resistive for years and years to awaken towards. And so we're very hopeful that we can create that kind of atmosphere.
Certainly. And this is why we're so excited about this opportunity that presented itself today to address those people in attendance. Because we would like to point out that this opportunity to give this message gives us an opportunity to bring awareness, new awareness, to those of you who listen. But just because you have awareness doesn't mean movement on these issues. And this is where you have the opportunity now to begin to move from a simple awareness to actual change before you even arrive at these groups. And then at the groups, Jesus and Mary will be presenting you with new information to give you new awareness. But that will only be meaningful if you decide to open your heart towards it, to allow it to affect your heart and to create changes in your life. So while this is a wonderful opportunity and we're so excited to have this opportunity to bring awareness before you even enter the door at the groups, the changes can only occur if you engage your heart with these things, just as it will be at the groups. So that we're happy to have had that opportunity. We thank you so very much for giving us this voice and this. Well,
that's Mary giving you the voice.
Well, this opportunity and this conversation, and we know that in part you're here to assist Mary to feel more confident in sharing my message, and there has been some limitations out of fear of her fear, but in the large part she's done a great job. So
No, that's good, Sonia. So we look forward to seeing you at the group then.
Yes, I will be there.
Do you have a particular charge?
Not at this time,
not at this stage,
no.
So there's a free guide there going around.
Indeed, and some people in attendance are still largely relying on other spirits.
Yes. A lot of them, I wouldn't say, are even guided very well at all by any spirit. They're more influenced by by spirits in addictions and unfortunate conditions.
Yes.
But obviously, we can just make a choice for that to change too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I will be there, absolutely, as a presence, and part of my passion is really to assist groups. In fact, to assist groups of people rather than having a specific person I'm guiding at this time.
Yeah.
My big desire is to assist groups of people in any way that I can. And so,
And perhaps we need to explain that most celestial spirits assist groups rather than individuals.
yes, although there are some who, we're good multitaskers.
Yes,
as you
that's
know.
right.
So we pay particular interest to certain people who have a strong resonant seeking with us and desire. But in truth, it is difficult to guide a lot of people on earth, being a celestial guide, because there is very little resonance, if I can use that word, or very little
sort of real connection on
real
the main
seeking
points.
for God within them. And so I know that will burst many people's bubble, but it is the truth.
Yes, and perhaps it needs to be stated that many people who come to our groups do not have celestial guides or even divine love guides at this point.
There are times when groups of us are able to
influence them.
But this is different from having a close relationship with a guide, to being open to that guidance. Many are so self-reliant, that they do not even wish to really receive assistance.
I feel too that there's many who come to our groups and are not only self-reliant, but they're reliant on abusive and quite dark spirits to engage their life.
Yes.
And that is a major problem still.
Yes,
unfortunately.
And we must respect that will within them. We cannot do any. If there are moments when they are more open, then we can come and provide some encouragement, some inspiration, some truth. But it's very shaky to get the truth in there. But that will create some opportunities for them to make different choices.
Yeah.
But for the main part, we watch, sadly, at quite a distance, attempting to have a loving influence over what these other interactions that are occurring. Yes. And recently you spoke with someone who has influence on a great many people on the earth. But we observe many people like Anthony who are mainly involved with people upon the earth.
Yes, and obviously, one thing that would help them is for the people on earth to get out of these facade-based fantasy addictions that they're in, and
burst the bubble
and want truth. And when you desperately desire truth, it's very hard then to attract spirits who are like that. Actually, very difficult to attract them.
They don't feel attracted. In fact, they feel repelled.
They feel repelled, and they feel they're not going to get what they want from the person, and they know they're not going to get what they want from the person, so they completely leave you alone, aside from occasionally attacking you when they feel there's an opportunity.
An opening, yes. It is so true.
Yeah.
But we have such great love for everyone who, for everyone on the earth.
Yeah.
And really we want to express our love to those who will be attending the groups, because we love them, we have such great compassion for them, and we see such great opportunities for them, and we're doing everything we can to assist them to feel the truth about God and the beauty of the way. But we cannot do that when their hearts are so closed to truth. We're so limited.
Yeah, and the fact that our groups are not yet full yet is an indication probably that there's still quite a lot of people who don't fully appreciate what it means to actually receive truth in a direct manner.
Yeah. But there is that opportunity still there, and we would encourage those coming to question, do I want more of the same, or do I want a radically changed life in a year's time? One that has more fulfillment, more connection with myself and others, and one that is commencing this true relationship with God. So we'll leave you there.
I think it's a good place to leave it.
We love you guys so much, and we thank Lena and Igor, who are working, we know as well, to bring this recording to everyone. We're very, very grateful again for this opportunity to bring a message to others.
Yes, and our little small team is quite busy, so
yes, very busy, and all of that preparation that I mentioned that you yourself, yes you did, while Lena and Igor have been less perhaps less involved for such a long time, and so many different spheres that you've been working on for these particular groups. They have been very actively busy working with you and on various technical considerations and configurations and new setups. And
also getting the material out to the world after the groups too, which is going to be quite an endeavour.
Would be a great service to others. Yes.
Because there's 64 hours of material that we'll be generating
each time,
and that all needs to be gotten out in a very short period of time, so that people coming to the next group can at least understand the next group.
We are so excited. There's so much joy amongst us to have truth shared so directly and in person upon the earth. As you know, it has been so long since that has actually been possible.
Yes.
To have a person on earth express so much truth about God, and for us not to have to rely on mediumship or inspiring, but just to really have the truth of God so readily available, so clearly explained. It brings us all so much joy and satisfaction. So we thank you, brother.
It's our pleasure, and thank you for coming and talking to us. And we'll give you the opportunity to come and talk again when we notice those opportunities appear.
We'll help you notice.
Thanks.